The project Nigeria, we call it at the level of NYPF. Okay, I am the Southeast um, coordinator of the Nigerian Young Professionals Forum, NYPF. It's an organization that is committed um, to helping young people grow career-wise and otherwise. So the project Nigeria is like a book that for every time you open it, you're expecting to find virtue, expecting to find or to see virtue. But it becomes discouraging when you don't find virtue. And like we always say, whether we like it or not, God will not come down from heaven to help us or to to help us do what we have the ability and the capacity to do. So everyone must be committed to ensuring that Nigeria do not fail. I made bold to say that as a country, we have not, there's a word I'm looking for. We are still, and let me come so why can it be area? And that is because if you look at the presence, the ingenuity of an average Nigerian, it takes a Nigerian to survive the hardship that we are faced with in this present dispensation. It takes a Nigerian. If you take this same hardship, this thing that we are faced with here, if you take it to another country, most people will die off. So I also think that is also an advantage, or what government sees that makes them still believe that nothing will happen. Let's still I was going through my phone and I saw a debit alert of full tank of fuel I bought sometime in 2020. That got either 2023 or 2022. 11,000 something to fill up my tank. I saw that debit alert, full tank fuel, Jesco. And I was like, to get my tank full now will cost you nothing less than 80,000 naira. See the margin. And nobody's saying anything. It's normal. Like, see, even if they make, or if we wake up one morning and we discover that fuel is 4,000, Ambassador, nothing will happen. Like, as in nothing go highest, people go just grumble. Readjust. And I don't know, maybe God just like us. Somehow He gives us the enablement. Like, people will just adjust, and life continues. But there's a limit to how far this can go. Sometimes I look at my children and I say, if these boys now get to my age and they are faced with what we are faced with, are you sure they're going to have that elastic limits, that capacity to still withstand? That is why the NYPF, yourself, myself, well-meaning Nigerians, we are advocating, whether you like it or not, the best way to get Nigeria working is to elect credible leaders. Leadership is not by you speak good grammar. I know that after the grammar, it's good to speak grammar. When you come into that position, that credibility will begin to find expression when you step into that position. So when we elect credible leaders, gradually the damage don't bad. Gradually we'll begin to, make amends and we'll begin to get it right. But if we don't, just like linear expansivity, it will keep expanding. So that's it.
Okay. Like when you were making your introduction and saying some things, you were very direct to some of the systemic errors, or rather institutional errors. And you said that the health sector Like when they say Nigeria happened to you, you said it has happened to me. So want to know that experience.
That statement Nigeria has happened to. When people make that statement, most people do not get to understand until it happens to. It's just like when you put on your television, you will hear 50 kidnapped. It could be like saying 50 flies. Until you meet somebody who has a child amongst that 50. Or just travel to Oyo and meet the parents of these kids that are still in hostage. You understand. So when people say statements like Nigeria has happened to me, most times people do not get to understand and relate with them because so our systems, the systems, yes, I use the word systems because it's not just in the health sector. Most of we have a system issues in Nigeria. Nonchalant work. People get to little opportunity that you have, you want to, bring it down. You want to. Let me also say this. We must also get it right at the level of the followers. The persons we get into the position of leadership, we get them from the followers. So the mindsets of our people need to change. Our approach to life needs to change. This thing where people will just say, nah, the people waiting to steal in this country, they are bigger than the people in the government stealing. Like people where they wait, make space, they mean they can't steal. Numerous. So I have a personal experience of Nigeria has happened. Not just one, not just two, not just three. In 2022, I lost someone so dear to me that he was kidnapped. He came into the country. He was kidnapped. We had conversation with the kidnappers. We spoke and were asked to bring ransom. I personally went to drop the ransom. Only to days after, Oburozu the guy came from. Like what could be worse than that? Battered. So I want to use this medium to salute everyone, every advocate who is in one way or the other calling for the release of the abducted children in Oyo. Until it happens to you, you will not understand. Until it happens to you. Some years ago, okay, not some years ago. I think that was last year. If I'm very active, very very active, social media wise, politically. But when Nigeria happened to me, I went back into my shell. Last year, I think by this time last year, I was in grief. Just because of the same negligence from the system. I lost my child, I lost my son in the course of being delivered. And just, simple something we're not supposed to be. Most times when things happen, they will tell you that's how God wants it. It's not true. It is not true. Somebody will make a mistake and you say, no, Chiku weta, no, Chiku well, or no, to Chiku siwe. I almost sued that facility. But, after wider consultation, I had to step aside. I want to share that experience. We were ready to give birth to our third son and, went to the hospital. We're doing well. My wife was doing, as someone that has given birth to two already, she was doing very well. The doctor was also doing well. Just for the doctor to attend to something outside the facility, he left and left her to the care of you see all these Gen Z nurses. Problem day. Left her to the care of all those nurses where they wear shorts, shorts gown. Left her to the care of the nurses, pressing her phone. The girl, as I call her a girl, she's a girl, didn't know what this woman was. Checking up on her was not even in her plans, So my wife had gone through series of development, like baby was almost coming out. So she was still, until someone more experienced came in and saw the what has happened, and they took her in. Now, imagine someone of that condition. You're still expecting that she will be able to push. Nothing told you to go in for the cesarean section. She was still expecting that the woman will have strength to push. So it was around 12:01. These people had the effrontery to tell me that they will refer me to another facility. Trust me, I'm a comrade. I promised to like I promised to bring down the facility. So somehow the lady didn't want to call that doctor. That was somehow somebody who is also working in that facility now called the doctor. Doctor with speed came and like, nurse, what have you been doing? What have you been doing with this development? Nurse was. So they went in, did the CS. Fortunately, my wife had lost strength. I'm sharing this just to let you know how bad the system has become. She had lost strength. To the glory of God, we were able to normalize her. We lost the baby, of course. And for 1 year, up till this moment, I still feel like I failed that boy. Yeah, I still feel that because, I'm an advocate. And we do advocacy. We will not let something like this be swept under the carpet. Once in a while, I still feel that pain. That's pain of Nigeria has happened to you. So I'm now saying that in countries in the Western world, I hope you know there are prayers they don't pray there. They don't pray. I want the lights not to go off, or let the oxygen whatever not, systems in place. So they do for themselves what they are able to do for themselves, and allow God step in situations that they are not able to handle. But this place, everything. I'm not trying to say that God should not come through for us. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. But I believe that we're overworking God. There are things that if we get at the level of leadership or at the place of leadership, Nigeria will be working for.
Thank you for this explanation, though a very pensive one. Listening to Peter Obi, he will always say that Nigeria has only one problem, and if that problem could be solved, then Nigeria has gotten it, and that's the issue of leadership. What is your concept of that leadership?
I will agree totally with His Excellency Peter Obi. The truth is that the problem that we are faced with, they are not rocket science. They are not rocket science. I was sharing with my mechanic was talking to me. He was sharing his own. My brother, forget. God has blessed us somehow. Not somehow. God has blessed us. If you go outside, and speak to the downtrodden, you will hear things. I went to fix my car just a few hours ago, and my mechanic was pouring out. Like he was pouring out. Someone who is way older than me was pouring out. And I felt his pain. And I asked him something. I said, what do you think we could do to get things better? And he was like, that if government can fix 3 things, the government eventually in Nigeria. You see, what are those 3 things? He said if they reduce fuel price. Enjoy a cable be. Okay, no, he said if they reduce fuel price. Then he said if they reduce house rent, or if they regulate house rent. The third one was season insecurity. That's even in his village. I don't want to mention where he also shared what he's also facing in the village. How Fulani people will come into their place eat up their farm produce and all that. So he mentioned three things. So I want to relate these three things to an average Nigerian on the street. I know for people who are into business, you also want maybe forex to stabilize, but an average Nigerian is just asking for three things: food, clothing, shelter. Three things: shelter, security. He wants to be able to sleep and wake up. He wants to go to his workplace and come back. Food. He wants to be able to, like, with 5,000 or buy or buy it. But no, chikota. But with 5,000 now, I paid that man. And after he shared what he shared, I had to add something. Because he shared deep things that I would not want to share here, because I do not have his permission to do that. So food, clothing, and shelter. If you reduce, talking now on behalf of the average Nigerians on the street, if you reduce fuel price for them. Regulate house rent and tackle insecurity. Somehow they will feel like, then we will, anyone MSC, business will always, it will also tell on the businesses. So when P2B was talking about that everything rises and falls on leadership, he's talking about the capacity to make these things work. He's also talking about the empathy, the human face. It takes a leader who has empathy, who knows that if there is no food, that people will die, to know that food should be made available. It takes a leader who has, sometimes when things happen and people are calling out leadership or people in authority, why haven't they gone there? Why haven't they said anything? Why haven't they done anything? I said to myself that, as in something that is not linked to you or something that you don't have the feel of, how will you relate? So I make bold to say that P2B was right, that if we want to get Nigeria working, let's fix leadership. Like I said, let me say it again, three things: food, clothing, and shelter. If you get those three things right, just like in Enugu, how much an average accommodation now? How much is it? And nobody just, it's just there. If you ask some persons, they will tell you it's a monopolized business that, but I was privileged as Speaker of the Nigerian National Youth Assembly of Nigeria. I was privileged to work with some of my colleagues on a document. The then colleague of mine from Lagos and Akwa Ibom, they did what they called house something regulatory something bill, and they signed it. And in those states, there's a benchmark of amount you would not collect rents. Like example, in GRA, that is, if you go above that benchmark, government will come for you. Sign into law. Okay, so an average Nigerian is calling for just make life so small, simple. Make fuel, security, and all that. So everything rises and falls on leadership.
So what's the role of young people in government?
Too huge, enormous. It's not just the role. Young people is, young people is not just the role. I don't know. I don't know how to make you understand.
Like inclusivity. What do they? Because sometimes you see young people, they are.
Yes, I'm coming to that. Young people is the life wire. If you take out the young persons of this country, there will be no Nigeria. Look at the industries. Look at the business world, the tech world, the fashion world. They are being championed by young people. So, but everything still rises and falls on leadership. For all of those spheres, I call them spheres of influence. For all of those spheres of influence to to heat up, you need the right policy. You need the right. You could be doing your business, and governments who do not understand the importance of what you're doing to the economy will just wake up one day and hit you with one policy. So when we advocate for young people into politics, or young people finding themselves in policy space, we do that because we understand that he who wears the shoes knows where it pinches. The numbers, we have it. On election day, young people will be the deciding factor. The conversation pre-election is young people. The conversation post-election is young people. Let me even draw your attention to the fact that political parties were doing primaries, and you needed to see the number of young persons that were given tickets across board. That is because it's not an attempt, it has been done. It's a deliberate act to relegate young people. It's a deliberate act to close them up, frustrate them, make life difficult for them. Push them to the wall But I also want to say that kudos to every young person who, in the midst of all of this suppression, is being able to find their feet, making impact in one way or the other. So the role of young person in the project Nigeria is big, is huge. It's huge. Young person scores a shot. Look at what's happening globally. Young people. There's this statement that they will tell you. They'll say, politics is abarakor. Sorry, I'm speaking Igbo.
No, it's everything.
I think politics abarakor. Listen to those people telling you that politics abarakor. They've been in power, they've been in government for almost 3 decades. And they are preparing their children to come, and they're telling you politics abarakor. How can you say politics abarakor? When the lives and the livelihood of persons in this country depends on it. And you're saying politics abarakor. Then during the election, politics abarakor will be the deciding factor. They won't sleep. They will protect the vote. They will go to collation center. It is still the same people that you will use to rig election at the collation center, at the polling units. Then you tell them, tomorrow you mount a podium and pulpit and say, young people should go and look for what to do. Politics abarakor. That's a lie from the pit of hell. And we're going to kill that lie. Young people, we have the numbers. We keep saying it. If the Nigerian youth or the young persons in this country decide to come together and form a bloc, do you know what that will do? Just to the political space. Do you know what that will do to the economy of this country? It's huge. But politicians will always have a way of dividing these people.
Using the same young people
to divide us across party lines, divide us across tribal sentiments, religions, and all that. But I want to thank you for what you're doing with this platform. I do not, for once, take it for granted. I want to use this medium to tell our young people. See, that's word, young people. You won't be young forever.
Yeah.
Yes. And God is God. I like calling God because He's God. What if God gives you a vision or an assignment and you're still playing with it? Ogaga, kona manga. Should we do it or should we not do it? He will take that vision. You know that passage of the Bible where He say, the one that do not have, even the one that he has will be taken from. Yeah, that's God for you. So when we do this advocacy and plead to young people during election, I beg, vote credible leaders. Imagine if we just vote credible leaders, bring them on board and watch them. It's also one thing to bring credible leaders on board. It's also another thing to watch them do the job. It's not easy. It's one thing to bring them on board. It's also another thing to support them through the job. So I was trying to let you know that if God gives you a vision and you're still tossing with it, He will take that vision and look for someone around. So we will not be young forever. I was speaker of the Enugu youths like 8 years, 10 years ago. I served as SA to the governor about 8 years ago or thereabout. Today, there are things I would not want to get myself involved because somehow I'm gradually phasing out. So if we do not do it, upon Nigeria, God will raise another generation. If He's interested in Nigeria, He will raise, but we have to do it because He will not come from heaven and do it for us. So there is a call for every young person to get involved. Gone are the days where you sit in your house, play games, watch television, and you don't want to participate. Then tomorrow you will say the country is not working. Everyone should get involved. Be a part of it. Be a part of it. Get involved. If it requires you to serve. Get involved so that we can make Nigeria a better place for all. Thank you.
Yeah, looking at the primary elections that were done by virtually all the political parties, do we see any form of leadership in there? For the first time in primaries, across board, results were not released until a particular time.
And that's for the NDC.
Even the APC.
Okay, yes. At some level, at some point.
Yes.
So, no strong man will let you into his space if he has not trusted you, if he's not sure of the stuff that you're made of. I keep telling, that's why when they tell you that now politics are bra call, they don't want you around that space. But they want their children. A particular leader in this country brought his son to be deputy governorship candidate. And there are no other mentees following him. Even in this Enugu state, leaders will be called upon. Well, when you see, do you have somebody that read this or that has this? Even if their assistant or their ward has that qualification, they will not. They will rather. So that's how bad it's become. So anybody telling you that politics are black or he doesn't want you to come into that space. Why? Because Urudia. So the primaries, the political primaries is a huge step into getting it right. If we don't get it right at the level of the primaries, because of course, candidates will be fielded from the primaries. So I would, with all, it's a shame. Let me use that word. It's a shame that leaders could not on their own sit back and produce candidates that means well for this country or for the state, or depending on where you at some point it was the highest bidder. At some point it was who sent you, where is it coming from? At some point it was this one. Can we control? Are you sure we can control this one? Are you sure? So it's now they sit in a room and decide for themselves, disregarding the larger society. So the primaries, if you ask me to rate it, it's nothing to write. So look at what happened at the level of the ADC. That P2B had to now join the NDC. Even in the NDC, there were still issues up to this moment. There are young persons that are close to me that are still crying foul, even in the leading political party in Enugu State, how they were treated. You can't beat a child and tell that child not to cry. Nigeria is for everyone. I expected that leaders would sit down and say, okay, can we meet these candidates or these aspirants? Can we see them? Can we hear from them? What are your vision? What do you want to do? Adeku's manifesto at the level of the primaries. Adeku's vision. Nobody's talking about what this one can do. No. What they are talking about now is where is he coming from? Who is bringing him? How much is he worth? Can you control him to an extent? And when you look at all of those criteria, they are not progressive. They're not something that is good for us to move forward. So the primary, if you ask me, was not a good one. Up till this moment, even at the level of NDC, at the NDC party, different persons conducted their primaries, declared themselves winner, and sent results. So they are now waiting for the national to rectify and fall back. It shouldn't have been like that. They should have shown leadership across party lines. Show leadership. This word, party is supreme. It was those days where party shows leadership. Party will sit down. Ideology. What are you bringing on board? What are you doing? If you come on board, how many, that's where you get to see party. In the supremacy of the party, they will decide who is best to be the candidate of the party. But not now, where somebody will bring money and the next morning they're announcing him candidate of the party. So where's the hope of the young people?
Now, coming to Enugu State, what's the involvement of young people in policy making, and what drive?
Yes. The Enugu State of today, I weep. That same statement, during the election, they will gather young people. They will gather them. I used to be a leader of young persons, so and you've always been there. Mobilize 2,000, 5,000. Everywhere will be full. And you will see the drive, the passion. And after the election, they will tell you, na politics aborolo. Really? So during the campaign and elections, these young persons, like, they were coming and, they were all rokahabia. But then Michigan election and season of Borol. So, but that is also a lesson for young people to have. We should have learned that lesson. So it's not a new thing, and identify with leaders, identify with platforms that have your interest at heart. It's also an opportunity to also say that young people need to build capacity. The political space is not a space for mediocres. A lot happens there. It requires absolute, I'm looking for a word. You have to be in your best. Because, my brother, it's a battle. It's a battle, spiritual battle, physical battle, intellectual battle. So young people need to grow capacity to find themselves in that space and stand firmly in it. Whether you like it or not, there's a place for mentorship. But the huge work is when you get into that space. So for an Enugu, or for our Enugu of today, there is a missing link. It's a missing link. I want to use this medium to call on the average young persons to still get. It's not easy to get involved. When you say get involved. Okay, when I say I get involved, get involved. Government also needs to galvanize and create that enabling environment for young persons to thrive in Enugu State. Somehow, the APC of today in Enugu State, some House of Assembly members young persons got tickets, but at the level of the reps, look at the age bracket. Benchmark. And if you deprive these young persons to have a place in the policy making of our states, it will show. Because whether you like it or not, the world of today, championed by young persons, the world of today, championed by globally? Is it in tech? Is it in business? Is it in fashion? So young persons, we call the shot, but the Enugu of today needs to still do more to bring in more young people into the political space. Let them not tell us that the politics. We want to tag that person and not do anything bad, but those statements should not, is a lie from the pit of hell. Don't tell young people that politics are abroad, but you want your son to come and take up the oro. Your son is fit for it. Your son. Maybe at this moment now, we're preparing for 2027 election. Some of these guys are abroad. All right, you get involved, do your stuff, support government. Then at the dawn of the process, you just see one fresh young man with dark beards. I think you know she call them technocrats. Those things are not. There are technocrats amongst those young persons around, right? So, government of the day, Peter Mbah's government has done to an extent, but more can still be done. And look at those young persons in Peter Mbah's government. See how well, even the little space anyhow, see how well they are doing. So imagine when you give them that platform to do more. Imagine when you allow them. Imagine when you put them in a position where, I understand that youthful exuberance can still, you go show somehow, okay? But that's where mentorship also play, okay? But that you like it or not, the Bible also says that young men will see vision. The old people, they will just sleep and dream. But the young people, futuristic, they can sit down and tell you, okay, they do a projection and say, in 20 years, this is where we should be. And they work towards it. And the society will be a better place for everyone.
Thank you very much. I know during the last dispensation, that's the administration of Ifeanyi Lawrence Ugwuanyi.
Yes.
I know that the young people came together to put up a youth charter.
Yes.
So how well?
I think you are a part of that. You're part of that committee.
That's why I said
yes, we did. I want to salute everyone. If you allow me, I'll mention names. Great guys. We sat down and we formulated a document that we submitted to the then government, and also submitted to,
because that's at the expiration of the last.
Yes. I remember we also submitted to His Excellency, the Governor Peter Ndubi Simba. We sat down and we looked at Enugu, looked at the peculiarity. Enugu is blessed. The people blessed, wonderful people. An average Enugu man will not give up. Like, nothing. If you see an Enugu man in London, you will know this guy is an Enugu man. A friend of mine was telling me about an Enugu person in the UK that he cooks like on a restaurant. You will see the Enugu spirit in that person. I'm just trying to let you know that an Enugu man is not a failure. So we sat down, and kudos, you were also part of the team. We sat down and we formulated wonderful ideas that, if implemented, Enugu will be a better place. Somehow, we are seeing some of them. The governor has done some of those initiatives. We are still hoping that the idea around the tech hub, the Enugu Tech Hub, where we said, okay, we could do things on tech, is being implemented. The Commissioner of Science and Technology, Prince of Umburumbu, is doing a wonderful job there. And numerous, that document is still available. We would also want to ask or plead that governments should do more in making the lives of our people better. Government should do more, or take, I don't know how to put it, but concern should be given more on projects that relates more to the people. There are projects that if you do, you know that this one is business oriented. If you ask me, Hotel Presidential is business oriented. It's going to create jobs. Okay, it's good, it will create jobs. But the end point, how many poor person would be able to provide or go to Hotel Presidential? And so there are projects, like I said in one of my meetings last week, people are crying in Enugu. And it will be a good thing for this government to listen to the cry of the people. I will not say it the way it is. You know me. The government of Pitamba is a futuristic government. I've been privileged to have worked in the previous administration directly. I've also been privileged to have worked in Sullivan's administration indirectly. So I have seen Pitamba's government, beautiful administration, futuristic. But there are areas that we need to clean up. And these are the areas where people are crying. I spoke about regulating rent. If the government wakes up tomorrow and puts on the news that they are ready, they should not say it's no monopoly, that they don't have the capacity to go into that place.
There's this thing that was passed in the House.
What's that? It has not been passed. I'm still talking with Okemba. I'm still talking with Okemba. Okemba said that there's progress, but it has not been passed. If we wake up tomorrow and His Excellency assents to a law regulating rent in Enugu, people will walk on their head from their houses to government house to go and thank Governor Mba. I'm telling you without...
And not just rent, like all those ancillary things.
No, there are clauses. There are clauses. If you see, I was privileged to have seen the bill. Oh. If you see it, all of those things, beautiful bill, well captured. Okay, Mba did a wonderful, and this committee, wonderful job there. But I don't know why it's been delayed. If His Excellency appends his signature on that bill and it becomes law, Enugu will go gaga. That's one. Two, you see this water issue. We should not play politics with it. We should be realistic. Can we make it work? Be sincere to the people. This government has done... I come on the social media and I see how people attack the government. Sometimes I try reaching out to these people. I say, this government has done lots of projects that shouldn't, on a normal day, warrant attack from anybody. Any well-meaning Enugu person should not attack this government. But this small, the cry from these low persons, somehow, those cries, but somehow nature has a way of taking out that cry, like resounding it and making it heavy. So the cry of the poor people in Enugu, I've mentioned it: food, clothing, and shelter. If you begin to break it down, I've talked about this house rent regulation, water. I understand there are pipes that are being put it in the node. That is this thing the governor used to do, where annually he does a media chat, invites people and tell us, okay, this is what we're doing. I don't know why that stuff hasn't come again. It has to come. People need to hear from their governor. Governor Mba is working hard, but people need to hear progress from him.
And also to question him.
And also to question some of this work that he's doing, beautiful work that he's doing. But if you don't have the face of the people, if you're just doing it, thinking, hoping that no. Speak, feel them, sit down with them. Na mama nele akara na n'obi agụ. Kedu ihe bụ? Mama nwere ike isi gị na problem ya bụ na injinia dị mama na ọkụ ada adị. Onye nke nọ na-eme nwere ike isi gị that na she can't even walk from her house, from her doorstep into wherever, because knows are. So if you have that feel, if you have that feel, okay, it will pinch you. Like, okay, it will pinch you. Then you now begin, when you act, you will see the, but when you just wake up and you want to do beautiful ideas, high rising, it's good though. It's good for PPP because they also bring funds, brings the money. But people-oriented projects, we should emphasize more on people-oriented projects. I've spoken about the rent, talked about water. Let me also talk about something that is very, very, very crucial. I am privileged to have, or to be engaged with our mentors. That's what I'm trying to. And in one of my work with one of my mentors, we stumbled into a work on inclusive city charter, where for you to develop a city, you must have an inclusive rapport with the persons or the inhabitants of that city. Whether you like it or not, urbanization will always come.
Yeah.
But a government who is committed to the people in bringing urbanization should have the interest of the people. That should be the paramount thing. I'm saying all of this to say that governments need to reach out to our people that lost their livelihood. I hear there's a project going on in Suka to cushion the effects of the Ogige market that was pulled down. I heard there's a shop construction that is ongoing there. I don't know how true that is, but if it is, kudos. Places like Nchatancha. Let me even share this one. It's really, for someone concern me. Some years ago, there's a business they call Lion Business Park.
Yeah.
Along Night Mile. The communities that contributed to that project, Akama, Eke, and Ogofia, till today, you need to go to that project and see what's happening there. Are you understanding? So when community contributes their own quota to development, carry them along. Compensation, if you have to do compensation. Low housing unit, if you have to do one, monetary support if you have to. But let it be that there any feel from the people that government have subdued them. With that, you will have the support of the people as you execute that project. You have the support of the people generally. A election can be. You have the support of people. I tell people that Peter Mba has done well. If you look at the Smart School project, if you look at the PACs, if you look at the road project, if you look at interventions, you would ask yourself that where all of this backlash, I'm concerned, it's giving me concern, all of this backlash. I know there are political backlash. I know there are those ones that, even if you like, carry your head, they work out for granted, they will still backlash you. Okay, but these things that are stated, if we sort them, if we are able to solve them, you just look at what happened in Abia. A particular politician said he wanted to contest against the sitting governor of Abia State. You know what happened? Yeah, that's to show you that the people, they know, they feel what you're doing, they are concerned, their interest is like, the people, one step, that relationship is there. But when you just do and the people do not have a feel of what you do, you lose them. And you also, there won't be sincerity of purpose. If you take one step, they will say you want to take 10 steps. They won't believe you anymore. I'm not saying that's the case here in Enugu. I'm saying that in the course of these projects, in the course of these developments we're experiencing in Enugu, we need to have more of people-oriented projects. More of people-oriented projects. With that, it will be a good one for us.
Okay, before we summarize, we're busy saying something and you made mention of Abia State.
Yeah.
But before now, I'd wanted to ask your very good friend, Ufuji.
you know, I told you I have mentors across board. God has blessed me with the gift of men, and by the grace of God, you can mention in this country. I can't be stranded by the grace of God. I can go to Lagos. I can fly to Lagos, and somebody is in the airport waiting to pick me up. That's God for you. So Fuji is not my friend. Fuji is my boss. Fuji is my boss, a senior brother, and he's also my in-law. My wife is from his place. As a matter of fact, I'm even considering relocating to Abia, but I won't do that. Fuji is someone who he has been consistent, even without politics. I've known Chima for over a decade and more. I've known him he has been consistent in reaching out to people. Politics or no politics, he reaches out. Chima has a school in Iberi. It was a primary school. Now I think that they have gone into secondary, just like this our smart school, but not as big as what Pitamba has, where free education, children are being taught stuffs, AI, robotics, and all that, free of charge. There are numerous roads that Chima had done like 10 years ago. So Chima is a man of the people, and I pray that he will get it because he's committed. He's been loved. Just go to Abia and ask, and just like Abia has never had. They have never been lucky as it concerns leadership. I will talk now. We're even better than Abia. Yes, it's only in Abia that you hear like you go to hear things like you hear things. But today, my wife is from somewhere in Abia North. In one of my visits, we drove from Umahia through Bende, Ozakoli, those roads. The last when I went to marry my wife, we spent hours for that road. Do you know we took that road? It was in minutes. Double, like street light double. Clean road. So it's not rocket science. It's not. That's why somehow, I like Wikeo. You might not like what he does, maybe his political style. But Wike will always tell you, if this money is provided for this thing, do them now. So if these funds are meant for this thing, do it. Somehow, someday, after your service as whatever, you will fall back to it. You will come and meet it. The Nsukka Stadium, when Buruburu was doing the Nsukka Stadium, a lot of people say it was a waste of resources. Today, how is it? This old lodge here, the one around here now, people were. But today, that is where most, right? Just like Peter Mbatu. Okay, someone doing 260 smart schools. No, it's even more than 260. I'm privileged to, it's more than 260 because for some areas in the urban, they have more than one per ward. Even though somehow some persons, there are still, sabotage around it. But for a man to wake up and tell you he wants to do 260 smart schools across the 260 ward, that project is worth over 500 and something million for the structure. The equipment coming in there is around 500 and something million too. So for a man to tell you he wants to commit 1 billion for a project in a ward, that's a futuristic leader. Tomorrow will not forget those kind of leaders, I am sure. So I'm saying all of these things to say that wherever position you find yourself, it is not an opportunity to steal. My Oga will always tell me that all of these things that you don't need them. It is when you have them that you will see that you don't need them. I'm privileged to serve a selfless man. Beloved Ananike, I will mention his name. A selfless man to the core. This is somebody, sometimes I will sit with him and say, boss, reduce now, reduce hand. We are compiling names of persons that will pay school fees for. And his own children, he has not paid. Not because he doesn't have money to pay, but he wants to, can I go do in first? In brought problem. When we resumed office, vehicles were made available for officials, but he never gets his own. That's selflessness. And when he shares some of this vision with you, you will be like, is it worth it? I'll say, no. That you don't do it because now when in one of our program, there was a girl he gave scholarship when he was chairman of Umuchibu years back. Gave the girl a scholarship. That girl is a medical doctor as we speak, working. The girl had to come herself to come and say thank you, in the local government. When we did our first edition of the Greater Tomorrow, yeah, you were there. So I'm making all of these references to say that Wike will always tell you it's not rocket science. If these monies are available for these things, do them. Somehow, posterity will pay you back. But when you gather it, gather all you can, sit on the can, suppress the can. Tomorrow you might just have need for a small healthcare center in your ward. And you don't have it because you were not able to build one when you had the opportunity to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. Finally,
thank you.
In road to 2027, so that this inclusiveness, state will any kind of agreement or conversation coming up.
Ambassador. The truth is that we have not been fairly treated. I don't know if that's the right word to use. That's the truth. Yes, because young persons in this state were instrumental to the emergence of this administration. Let me bring your memory. At the verge of the, when results were collated, announced, where there were issues in Kano East, in Suka, and all that, and governor's results, there was an embargo to announcing that. I don't know if you remember. We spent a number of days we spent at INEC office calling. A lot of us went to radio stations, went to television stations, calling because we had sat down with His Excellency. I remember in one of the meetings, he shared with us his experience at the Silicon Valley. We sat down with Peter and he shared this vision. So we said to ourselves, for a man who has this exposure, remember that period, my dad was also running for governor, beloved Anike. So having sat down with His Excellency, we saw direction. We saw where he was. So we agreed that this is the way to go. It was not because of anything. We agreed. So somehow, that same statement that I mentioned, Apoliti Sabora called. So we were not, truth be told, we are critical stakeholder of this state. We are. You can't take it out. The young people of this state, the Enugu youth, you can't deny them that they have earned it. At the level of NSAS, you were part of it. Young persons stood out, and we insisted. We were cleaning the streets. So, as a body or as a community, we would oblige or would kindly request that I understand that a lot of persons are still aggrieved. A lot of persons are, but if you are aggrieved and you lose faith in the system, if you're aggrieved, you don't want to contribute. I am here making bold to say that I served in the previous administration. I know the contributions I made. So it will be a thing of joy if young persons are also given that platform in this administration at various levels. So before we talk about any endorsement, any statement, any support, I think we need to sit down as young people first and look at how far it's been. How far has it been? Look at it. At the level of Kankanuje, you knew what happened. At some point, I had to leave this state because we took positions that I make bold to say we're the first persons that insisted that power will be taken to Nkano. Even when some of my brothers from the Enugu West extraction wanted to take it or to, So I'm saying all of these things to say that do not take out young people from the equation. As in, you won't find it funny. I also think that's even the reason why some of this unwarranted backlash are coming. Because for a government who is committed but has lost, okay, let me not use the word lost, but has not given consideration to inclusiveness, you know what the aftermath will be. So before we do any, I would not say that we are coming to gather again. No, we are not just election materials. No. We are not talks. We are professionals, core professionals who contribute and still contributing to the growth of this country and even Enugu. And we insist that you can't take out the young people from the equation. You can't deprive them that space. You can't tell them that politics are abroad. You can't do that. Enugu belongs to everybody. So that inclusiveness should be felt. So we will speak when the time comes, but we need to sit down as young people and x-ray the journey so far. How has it been? Of course, when we speak, it's loud. We'll speak. We'll gather our people again. So, but I want also make a call to our people. When you say now see, one day when they make policies that will affect you. When they make policies that will affect you, Obasage. So if we don't get involved. It's huge. Get involved and be a part of it. So that,
All right. Thank you so very much for coming to the VAR Podcast. Ambassador Mark.
Thank you. Thank you.